Have you noticed how the body seems to have an internal clock? This system, called the circadian rhythm, is like a conductor orchestrating everything in the body, from sleep to digestion. It's controlled by a brain area known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which responds to natural light. Imagine trying to lead a band without a conductor. The result is chaos. Staying awake outside the usual schedule confuses this conductor, and the show falls apart. When the sun sets, your brain gets the message to start releasing melatonin, the hormone that prepares your body for rest. Now think about it. How often have you found yourself scrolling on your phone at night with the screen glowing in your face? This artificial light sends the wrong signal to the brain, as if it's still daytime, and there goes your chance of sleeping well. A practical tip is to reduce screen use an hour before bed and, if possible, invest in warmer lights at night. But insomnia isn't the only thing that comes with this. Disrupting your natural rhythm can also affect your mood and productivity the next day. Ever had a day where everything feels hard? It might be your body complaining because it didn't have time to recover overnight. Setting fixed times for sleeping and waking helps align this internal clock, like giving your car engine a tune-up. Circadian rhythms don't just affect sleep. They influence how the body processes food and medications. Ever noticed how a late-night meal feels heavier? That's because the body understands it shouldn't be digesting anything at that time. A helpful strategy is to prioritize lighter meals in the evening and save heavier dishes for lunch. Disregarding the circadian rhythm can lead to more serious long-term consequences, such as an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. After all, the body wasn't designed to be on constant alert. Maintaining a regular sleep pattern isn't a luxury, it's health. Think of it as an investment in well-being, like buying quality equipment for a sport. Of course, it's not always possible to stick strictly to a routine. Sometimes work, or even an irresistible series, keeps you up all night. When this happens, try to recover by adjusting your schedule the next day and prioritizing rest periods. Small adjustments make a difference, like swapping your morning coffee for calming tea and avoiding caffeine in the afternoon. And here's something that's been helping me a lot lately. Besides the main topics, I'd like to share something that has made a difference for me. Recently, I started using Synaboost, which has been helping me improve focus, energy, and even reduce anxiety in my daily life. If you're interested, check out the pinned comment. And the best part is, you only pay for shipping. Speaking of energy, did you know coffee plays an interesting role in all this? Coffee. That smell that wakes you up faster than any alarm clock. But have you ever wondered how it really works in the body? Caffeine is like a spy that tricks the brain, blocking adenosine, a substance that makes you sleepy. It seems magical, but this trick comes at a price. Instead of resting, the brain stays on, which can lead to accumulated fatigue later. It's like ignoring a car maintenance alarm. It works for a while, but the consequences show up. That burst of energy from coffee is great for starting the day or getting through a dull meeting. But beware, overdoing it can have the opposite effect, like anxiety and shaky hands. Have you felt your heart race after an extra cappuccino? To avoid this, a good tip is to limit daily consumption to 2 or 3 cups. And if you need focus at night, how about green tea? It has less caffeine and helps keep the mind alert without overloading it. Another interesting point is that caffeine doesn't work the same way for everyone. Some people feel energized immediately, while others don't even flinch. This depends on each person's metabolism. For those who feel coffee doesn't work, maybe the ideal is to try alternatives like matcha or supplements that boost focus without causing energy spikes followed by crashes. The problem is that many end up using coffee as a substitute for rest, which doesn't solve the root problem: lack of sleep. If you find yourself dependent on that cup to function, maybe it's time to revisit your routine. Try incorporating short breaks throughout the day, staying well hydrated, and even light exercises like a 10-minute walk. Moreover, the coffee moment can be more than just a work boost. Turn it into a ritual. How about preparing your drink calmly, experimenting with different beans, or even using manual methods like a French press or AeroPress? This mindful pause might be just what you need to slow down and recharge. Finally, be careful with coffee at night. As tempting as it is to have just one more to finish a project, it can interfere with your sleep and disrupt your circadian rhythm. If resisting is hard, opt for a decaffeinated version or swap it for a relaxing infusion like chamomile or lavender. If these tips are helping you, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. We have much more content to help you balance energy, productivity, and well-being. Speaking of balance, did you know sleep is also crucial for consolidating memories and truly learning? Have you ever noticed how, after a good night's sleep, your ideas seem clearer and everything flows better? It's no coincidence. Sleep is when the brain does a thorough cleanup and organizes your memories. It's like an archivist, separating what's important to keep and discarding what doesn't make sense. Without this process, learning becomes fragmented, like trying to assemble a puzzle with missing pieces. Imagine studying for an exam and then staying up all night reviewing. It seems like a good idea, but in practice, you're sabotaging your brain's ability to consolidate what you've learned. Instead, try reviewing the content a few hours before bed and prioritize our proper rest. Studies show that deep sleep helps solidify information and even spot patterns you didn't notice while awake. But it doesn't stop there. Sleep is also vital for solving creative problems. Ever had an idea come out of nowhere while resting? During REM sleep, the brain connects points that previously seemed distant, almost like magic. If you want to be more creative, don't underestimate the power of good sleep. A practical strategy is to keep a notebook near your bed to record these insights upon waking. And the effects go beyond learning. Sleep deprivation harms short-term memory and makes it harder to retain new information. This means that instead of accumulating knowledge, you're struggling not to forget what you just learned. Have you noticed how difficult it is to remember names or simple details after a bad night's sleep? That's your brain crying for help. If you have trouble sleeping, some practices can help. Creating a nighttime ritual, like reading a light book, listening to relaxing music, or even meditating for a few minutes, prepares the body for rest. Avoiding heavy meals before bed is also a good idea, as digestion can disrupt deep sleep. For those who think they can make up for lost sleep on weekends, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't work like that. Sleep doesn't function like a bank account where you can deposit and withdraw at will. Regularity is key. Adjust your routine to sleep and wake at similar times every day, even on weekends. This strengthens the body's natural rhythms. If sleep is so important for memory and creativity, you're probably wondering, what happens when it is completely lacking? Well, the impact goes beyond the mind and starts to affect the body, leading to episodes like the infamous microsleeps, which can be more dangerous than they seem. Have you ever blinked and, for a second, it felt like the world shut off? These are the infamous microsleeps, brief sleep episodes that appear when you're exhausted. They can last just fractions of a second, but the impact can be disastrous. Imagine this happening while you're driving or operating a machine. This shutdown is the body's way of saying it can't take anymore, even if you insist on continuing. The worst part is that most of the time, you don't even realize you're entering this state. Have you ever tried attending a class or meeting while tired and suddenly noticed you'd missed part of the explanation? That's microsleep in action. Avoiding this starts with respecting the body's needs, prioritizing regular and quality sleep. Sometimes a quick 20-minute nap can be enough to prevent accidents. Sleep deprivation directly impacts motor coordination too. Simple tasks, like picking up a glass of water or typing an email, start to feel complicated. It's like the brain and body are in different time zones. Studies show that sleeping less than 6 hours a night for several days can make your performance similar to that of someone who has consumed too much alcohol. Moreover, the impact goes beyond simple tasks. Activities requiring concentration and precision, like playing an instrument or practicing sports, become even more challenging. If you enjoy driving, know that sleep deprivation is one of the leading causes of traffic accidents. A tip? If you're drowsy, avoid the road. A short break to rest can save lives. To minimize the effects of a poorly slept night, there are some strategies to recharge. One is to do light movements like stretches or short walks to activate circulation and stimulate the mind. Another tip is to eat energy-rich foods like fruits instead of overdoing caffeine, which can mask fatigue without solving the problem. In the workplace, fatigue can lead to mistakes that compromise productivity and even safety. Creating regular intervals between tasks is essential to maintain focus and avoid these lapses. Tools like the Pomodoro technique, alternating work periods with short breaks, can help manage fatigue. When the body starts shutting down on its own, it also sends clear signs of needing emotional rest. After all, it's impossible to maintain physical balance without caring for the mental side. Have you ever stopped to think about how lack of sleep affects your emotions? Have you noticed how everything feels more intense when you're tired? A silly criticism might feel like a personal attack, and small. Daily frustrations turn into huge dramas. This happens because sleep deprivation disrupts the balance between the amygdala, responsible for emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, which helps control impulses. When you sleep poorly, it's like the emotional brakes are broken, resulting in exaggerated reactions. For instance, a misunderstanding at work, which would normally be calmly resolved, can become an unnecessary conflict. At these times, sleep is the best remedy because it literally recharges emotional batteries. A practical tip is to observe your sleep patterns before important meetings or difficult conversations. Preparing emotionally starts with a good night's sleep. Furthermore, sleep deprivation affects your ability to empathize. Have you ever felt more irritable or less understanding of others after a bad night's sleep? It's not just an impression. When tired, it's harder to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Small gestures like taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply or writing down your worries before bed can help lighten the emotional load. The impact doesn't stop there. Lack of sleep is also associated with increased anxiety and even depressive symptoms. It's a cycle. You don't sleep well, become more anxious, and anxiety prevents you from sleeping better. Breaking this pattern starts with small changes, like creating a relaxing nighttime routine. Try turning off the lights, listening to calm sounds, or practicing guided meditation before bed. Another important point is how sleep affects resilience. When rested, it's easier to handle challenges and find solutions to problems. When tired, even a line at the supermarket can seem unbearable. One way to improve this is to prioritize your well-being by scheduling moments of self-care, like a walk outdoors or a break to disconnect from the routine. Finally, sleep is also directly linked to decision-making ability. When deprived of rest, you're more likely to act impulsively without evaluating the consequences. Have you ever made a decision you regretted the next day? Maybe sleep was missing from the equation. Take time to reflect and rest before making big choices. When emotions are running high, the body starts to feel the impacts, and not just mentally. In the long term, sleep deprivation can bring serious consequences, affecting everything from physical health to academic and professional performance. Sleeping little for 1 or 2 nights leaves anyone exhausted, but imagine what happens when this becomes routine. Chronic sleep deprivation is like a debt the body can never fully repay. Over time, it can trigger severe problems like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and even depression. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a fundamental pillar of health, like eating and exercising. Additionally, prolonged sleep deprivation can harm immunity. Have you noticed you're more likely to catch a cold when tired? That's because the body uses sleep time to produce substances that fight infections. Without this nightly repair, even a common cold can take longer to overcome. A good tip is to establish a regular sleep routine and prioritize a comfortable sleeping environment. But the effects don't stop at the physical level. Mental health also suffers. Sleep deprivation is associated with an increased risk of anxiety and depression, creating a vicious cycle. Less sleep, more stress. More stress, less sleep. Breaking this cycle starts with adopting relaxing nighttime practices, like reading something light or using mindfulness apps. Small changes can lead to significant impacts over time. In academic or professional environments, sleep deprivation also leaves its mark. It reduces the ability to concentrate and hinders learning, leading to performance drops. For those studying or working in fields requiring high attention, like programming or medicine, lack of sleep can be especially harmful. Prioritizing a fixed bedtime can be the difference between merely surviving the day and truly thriving. Another critical point is how sleep influences metabolism. Lack of it disrupts hormones responsible for hunger, like ghrelin and leptin. The result: you crave high-calorie foods, often at inappropriate times. To avoid this, try to maintain balanced meals and respect bedtime. Your body will thank you. In the long run, the consequences can be even broader, affecting even your life expectancy. Studies show that consistently sleeping less than 6 hours a night increases the risk of conditions like hypertension and stroke. It's like driving a car without ever stopping for an oil change. At some point, the engine breaks. Investing in sleep is investing in quality of life. And speaking of which, it's not just the quantity that matters, but also the quality of sleep. Adopting strategies like keeping the bedroom dark, reducing screen use at night, and creating a relaxation routine can transform how you rest. After all, sleep is the foundation for productive and emotionally balanced days. Speaking of balance, how's your routine for avoiding emotional highs and lows? When sleep isn't a priority, the price goes far beyond fatigue. It affects the body, mind, and even relationships. Imagine trying to build a house without a solid foundation. Sooner or later, everything collapses. Sleep is like this in your life. It is the foundation of everything, from your ability to learn to the energy to pursue your dreams. So, what can you do to ensure more restorative nights? Sleeping well isn't a luxury, it's a strategy. A proper sleep routine is like a long-term investment that pays daily dividends. With it, you feel less anxious, improve concentration, and even make more assertive decisions. Want to start now? Set a fixed time to sleep and wake. Also, consider creating a nighttime ritual, like having relaxing tea or writing down daily worries to clear your mind before bed. If regulating sleep is hard, observe your sleeping environment. The bedroom should be a true sanctuary, dark, quiet, and comfortable. A good mattress, blackout curtains, and even an eye mask can work wonders. And if noise is a problem, try relaxing sounds or white noise to create a conducive atmosphere for rest. Small adjustments can make a big difference in sleep quality. And don't forget, sleep quality is as important as quantity. Even if you sleep 8 hours, interrupted or restless rest may not be enough. Try reducing screen exposure at least an hour before bedtime, as blue light suppresses melatonin production, disrupting the onset of sleep. Replacing your phone with a physical book or guided meditation can help turn off the mind. Furthermore, maintain a balanced diet to help with the sleep cycle. Avoid heavy and stimulating meals like coffee or sugar before bed. A light snack, such as a banana or yogurt, can help relax the body without overloading digestion. Even small habits, like staying hydrated throughout the day, impact nighttime rest. Sleep also directly affects how you handle daily challenges. When well rested, problems seem less daunting and solutions appear more clearly. Sleeping well isn't wasting time, it's gaining clarity, energy, and perspective. If prioritizing this is difficult, think of sleep as a battery recharge. Without it, your tools simply don't work. Finally, ask yourself, what can you change today to honor your body and mind? Remember, it's not just about sleeping more, it's about turning rest into a tool for living better. If you enjoyed this content and want to learn more, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Oh, and I recommend watching the video now appearing on the screen to continue your journey of knowledge. See you there.